Well, many Canadians have received a mix of COVID-19 vaccines, meaning they received a viral vector vaccine from AstraZeneca and a messenger RNA vaccine for their second dose. Now, public health officials, they still maintain this vaccine mixing is safe and effective, but not every country agrees. Many Canadians are now encountering travel issues. They are being denied entry into countries that don't recognize vaccine mixing. Although earlier this month, the government did say it is working with other countries to clear up what it means to be fully vaccinated outside of Canada. Now, our next guests have already booked 6 cruises, which will dock in multiple countries. And these cruise lines, well, they don't recognize them as fully vaccinated because they mixed vaccines, and that's putting their plans in jeopardy. So with that, we want to bring into the program right now travel bloggers Karen and Brian Hosier in Vancouver. So hello to the two of you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, Karen, I'm going to get you to start us off here. How did you even find out that you weren't going to be recognized as fully vaccinated?
I found out on Cruise Critic. They actually did a story about mixed vaccines and that cruise lines were not accepting those mixed vaccines.
So not accepting it. Brian, what was your reaction when you guys heard that?
A little bit of frustration, of course, and we've got several cruises. For Karen, it is our business as travel bloggers, and it was one of those things that we've sort of scratching our head and saying, are you kidding me? You know, we've done what we believe is the right thing, and yet not being recognized at present in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you board as an unvaccinated traveler?
I called Celebrity on Friday, and no, we cannot board.
So you need to meet the American criteria in order to actually board the ship. So I wonder then, Karen, would you have actually mixed vaccines if you'd known this would be the result? Because certainly the messaging we got from all officials across the country was get the first vaccine available to you.
No, I would not have mixed vaccines because I would not be dealing with this right now.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're led down the wrong path here, Brian?
Not really, no, because I sort of approach it from a scientific perspective, and I think the science says mixed vaccines are completely fine, completely safe, and in fact, even possibly a higher efficacy than just having a single vaccine of Pfizer or Moderna. But that's not in agreement with the CDC, so it's really more of a policy challenge we have than actually based on science, in my opinion. So I feel we did the right thing. But looking at options going forward, that's where the challenge is, because we do have cruises booked, both near term and longer term into next year. And unless the policy changes, we're a little bit between a rock and a hard place.
Rock and a hard place. I'm wondering, does that mean that you lose the money then on those cruises? Because my understanding is it's hard to get any type of cancellation insurance right now.
If you have not paid in full, you can get a refund of your deposit if you cancel before the deadline, but we do have one that is paid in full, and they changed the policy after that. And when I spoke to Celebrity on Friday, they would not give us a refund. It would be a future cruise credit in which we could not use unless they changed their policy.
Mm-hmm. And what about your business? As you say, you're both travel bloggers. What type of impact does this have on what you do?
Well, cruising is obviously a big part of the business. We write about travel in general, but being able to cruise, experience the actual destinations, that's where the work and the quality comes from. And if we can't travel, can't cruise, it's a little bit like trying to do any job and not being able to do the job. So as much as we love travel, it's also for readership and folks that follow us that we feel it's a little bit unfair, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm wondering if either of you have spoken to your family physician, any type of doctor, about the choices that are ahead of you. And I'm wondering if one of those choices might be getting a second dose of mRNA vaccine.
We've considered it, and I've read other people have done that. They've got a third vaccine. Some people have crossed into the United States and got a third vaccine, and some are actually going to see their doctor. I'm going to see how it goes with other people, if it's acceptable, before we consider that.
Okay. And Brian, I guess the question is, where does this leave you? What type of message do you now want to send to Ottawa? Because ultimately, again, we were told that it was okay to mix vaccines, but now it is interrupting travel into certain countries, the United States among them.
I think the message that we received was still the sound message. However, be it political or otherwise, there is a restriction that we're encountering because of the mixed vaccines. So either we need to synchronize this across North America. I think, Canada is a bit of a special partner with the United States, so hopefully they can come to terms on this. But at the point right now, there is many, many Canadians that would be cruising that probably have a mixed vaccine. I wouldn't be surprised if there's probably 1 million Canadians that might be considered cruising over the next while that aren't eligible. In some cruise lines, you can cruise. It's just that the experience is completely different. You're almost a second-class cruiser by being restricted to certain parts of the ship, not being able to do excursions, etc.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering what type of reaction you've gone to, because, we're talking about cruising here, but eventually, if and when the U.S. border opens up again to Canadians, I imagine this will have an impact on Canadians who have family and friends in the U.S. who they want to visit as well.
Yes, there's already cases where countries are not allowing people in with mixed vaccines or vaccines that are like the AstraZeneca, if it's made in India. Some countries are already not allowing people to travel if they've had that particular vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to be following this very closely. We appreciate you guys sharing your story with us today. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And those are travel bloggers, Karen and Brian Hosier in Vancouver.